Hey Scrap Bosses, welcome back to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. Today I have a fun scrapbook process video for you, and I'm also going to show you a coordinating card towards the end of the video. So this layout is called This Is Me. Before we get into it, if you're new to this channel, make sure you press that subscribe button. When you do, click the bell indicator. That way you'll know each and every time a new video is posted to this channel. Let's go ahead and get into this. So lately I have been challenging myself to use up my scraps from kits, and I subscribe to the Felicity Jane kit. Of course, if you've been following me for some time, then you know I used to be on their design team, and now I'm just a subscriber, and I love the kits. And before the new kit comes every month, I try to use up the previous month's kit and any other materials left over from other months as well. So what I did was I took some remaining pieces that I had from a kit, and these are the last little bits. So I have some die cuts, some chipboard pieces, and some paper, and I'm going to create a 12 by 12 layout. The first thing I want to do is I want to create a foundation for my layout. So I'm using some pattern paper, and that's going to serve as the anchor for a double mount, which I'm going to create with a piece of double-sided sellout cardstock as well as a piece of heavy-duty white cardstock. Now that black and white stripe paper is a little thin, so I want to give that a firmer foundation. Now this is a selfie that I took when I was in Sacramento not too long ago for the Victoria Marie Spring Retreat. We were at a local scrapbooking store, and I decided to scrapbook this this photo rather, and print it in black and white because I thought it would be really striking against the pink and other beautiful pastel colors. Also, too, I wanted to talk a little bit about where I'm at this point in my life. So what I did was I took the last two 3x4 pocket cards in this particular kit, and I believe I'm using various kits on this layout. Then I also take some scrap pieces of fun foam, and I go ahead and mount that to the back. Of course, I adhere both of those 3x4 pocket cards to either side of my photo, and what I did was I created a layering element behind my photo. That's a great way to use up those pocket cards that you have laying around. Now I want to set a foundation or an anchor for some clusters that are going to go around the photo. So from the kit, there are some chipboard pieces, or some die cuts rather, that I had remaining, the tags as well as the labels. So I'm going to use the labels as an anchor for those tags. Now if you've been following me for a while, if you've taken my Layering Like a Boss classes, then you know that my tip for starting a layered cluster is to begin with an anchor. Usually the anchor is going to be a large element. It doesn't always have to be, but you want a place to start to build out your clusters. Once you have the anchor, then you can start layering in other elements. So I have this butterfly that I cut from a remaining piece of a 3x4 pocket card. That's a great way, again, if you have some images on your pocket card that you can die cut, or you can cut out, fussy cut by hand, then go ahead and do that and get some use out of it. Nothing says that you can't. So I'm going to use this die cut piece that says "This Is Me" for my title because it was left over and it was perfect. I also typed up my journaling as a list, and I cut them out in journaling strips numbered 1 through 6. And so for the journaling, I just wanted to list some details about myself right now. So number 1 says coffee obsessed. Number 2, bookworm. Number 3, crazy scrapbook lady. Number 4, girl boss. Number 5, foodie, and number 6, traveler. Those are all the things that I'm into at this point in my life. I'm going to add some adhesive to those journaling strips, and I'm going to get those laid down to the left-hand side of my photo layer. So that's coming together nicely. Now, of course, I have all that white space down there, but I want to fill those up with little banners. So I took a 2-inch banner punch and the remaining pieces of the pattern paper, and I punched banners out of all of those pattern papers. They were cut-offs, strips, little squares that I could have pulled together to layer, but I felt that they would be most effective if I used a punch to punch out a shape, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm creating a really fun banner effect at the bottom of my layout. This is an excellent way to get use out of all of those extra pattern papers that you have and to pull out your punches. So if your punches have been in retirement for a while, bring them back, put them back to work. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit so I can get through this process. So I'm first layering down these punches. Notice that I'm adhering some directly to the page, and then I'm also adhering some using some foam dots or foam squares, and what's going to happen is it's going to give me some really fun dimension on the layout, and I'm alternating that method for each banner just to add a bit of interest. So I would adhere one with some regular tape and then use the other one, or the alternating banner, with a piece of foam. So there we go. That came together very nicely. Next up, I do want to add some more detail to those banners. So I have some remaining die cut pieces. I also have some chipboard banners. Now these were the last remaining pieces out of a kit that I had And I challenged myself to use them all, because when you don't use them, they go back in your stash and they remain in your stash. So when I'm trying to kill a kit, I try to figure out creative ways to use all of these items so I don't put them back in my stash. So I have these little die cut flowers, hearts, and the chipboard banners, which are going to come back here in a second. I'm popping some of those up with some fun foam. Those chipboard banners, I'm just going to adhere directly to the little banners there. Next up, I wanted to add something to the top of the title that says "This is me." So I'm going to grab a Felicity Jane stamp set, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment that says "For the record." So I'm using a little bit of black ink. I'm going to stamp that up. I'm going to cut it out, creating my own die cut, which of course is a great idea when you have stamps, whether they're sentiment stamps, text stamps, letter stamps. You can cut them up and put them on your layout. Create your own die cuts, your own stamp die cuts. So there we go. I had to move that little die cut piece down that says "This is me" so I can add my little homemade die cut that says "For the record." I love the way that this turned out. It is so bright and airy, all those beautiful banners. I'm going to have still photos on the Victoria Marie blog, so make sure you check that out. Now, in addition to this 12 by 12 layout, I also made a card because I had some more of those banner die cuts left over, and I wanted to get some utility out of them. So here's the card that I made using those little banner die cuts. Some of them, again, like on the layout, are popped up on foam. The other ones are just adhered directly to my panel. Then I used a hello die to create my sentiment for the card. So I'm happy to report that this kit was officially killed. To see still photos of this layout, make sure you head on over to the Victoria Marie blog. While you're there, go ahead and subscribe. That way you can get the latest and greatest of what's going on with Victoria Marie designs. This video was made possible in part by the Victoria Marie Scrap Boss patrons. To learn more about how you can support Victoria Marie designs, click on the Patreon link down below. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel. When you do, click the bell indicator. That way you'll know each and every time a new video is posted.